I'm the Tortoise.
And I'm the Hare.
And welcome to our book club.
All right.
We're starting, I guess.
We are.
Here we go.
Enjoying your day off?
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Yes.
I'm enjoying my weekend off.
Honestly.
Though I have paperwork to do.
Ew.
Fun paperwork that, we got fun emails about. So, guess
That I'm
we should
ignoring.
do it. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently you're going to get another email tomorrow.
It's okay. I'll ignore that too.
Yeah. I won't be in work for that tomorrow. Because I'll be reading Onyx Storm.
Nice.
So
I'll be dying
a little
bit inside.
I will also be ignoring the email, but not purposefully. More of like, I'm off, therefore you don't
Your
exist.
nose is stuck in Iron Flame.
Onyx Storm.
Onyx Storm. I'm
yes, just
sorry.
like
Just absolutely nothing else exists except Onyx Storm.
correct.
So you're going to that midnight premiere tonight?
Yes, I am. There's supposed to be like trivia and games and like other fun stuff.
That's super fun. Is it all going to be, do you think, Fourth Wing themed?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be like a get ready for the new book. Mm-hmm. How much do you know?
Nothing.
I know probably too much.
Okay.
In the sense of just like I remember random facts, and therefore I am decent at trivia.
Okay.
Now, if you ask me to name a dragon, probably not going to happen. That's the only thing. I'm not very good at the dragon names.
Terrence, Gale, Andarna.
I know Tyne is Mira's dragon.
Okay.
I know D is Liam's dragon.
R.I.P.
Spoilers, I guess.
It's not. At this point, no.
Listen, there's a group of people who make music about based on books, called the Bookish Collective or something like that.
Cool.
And one of their albums they just came out was an Iron Flame inspired one, that has a song for Liam.
Is it sad?
In Liam's sort of perspective?
Does it break your heart?
Oh yeah. And you know what the fun thing is? You know what line they decide to use?
It's been my honor.
Uh-huh. And they use it beautifully.
Yeah.
In the lyrics, it fits so well.
Oh, they actually have lyrics? It's not just
It's
classical?
a song. No, it's a full, sung song.
Oh, interesting.
It's Bookish Collective. I know they have, an Apple Music, thing. Mm-hmm. I know they're on Apple Music, and I'm pretty sure they're on Spotify, too.
Probably. I think that's where most people start.
Yeah. Bookish Song Collective. And January 17th, they released Burn It Down Part 2. So they have, Fly or Die as, an EP, and then they have Burn It Down Part 1.
Okay. That's a lot of songs.
And, yeah, it's a decent amount.
Wow.
Apparently there's Andarna's theme is here.
Aww.
That's fun. Red Eyes. Oh boy, we know what that means.
We sure do.
Your Love is Gravity. That sounds fun.
Is that the one where she falls off?
Probably.
And dies?
Does she die?
No, but...
we think it every time she falls.
Yeah, for real.
I'm trying to think. I think Eyes Shut is... Yeah, Eyes Shut must be the Liam song.
Aww.
Liam. He should not have died.
The only good character, except for maybe Rhiannon.
Yeah, Rhiannon's pretty great. But he should not have died that early.
Although I do stand by, and this is unrelated, but I do stand by Mira and, what is it, Serena? Serena. I need that in my life.
Book 2, or book 3 might have it.
It better. If Mira and Serena become a thing, that would probably be the reason I read Onyx Storm.
I'll let you know.
There you go, please.
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
unless Mira dies at the end of Onyx Storm.
She did say that it was going to make you cry.
Yeah. Oh wait, let's put our bets for who's going to die in Onyx Storm.
I think I said Mira
on the record.
I think I said Mira.
That way, when this publishes 3 weeks after, or 2 weeks, it'd be 2 weeks.
2 weeks after.
2 weeks after the release of Onyx Storm, we have it pre-recorded and done, and we can't take it back.
We cannot take it back.
So go ahead. You said.
I think it's Mira.
Think Mira's gone?
Either, yeah, because I'm it doesn't make sense for anybody else.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that'd be, I think I said I had 2, because I couldn't decide between them. If we really want a gut punch, Rhiannon.
Right.
If we're looking,
that would ruin it, though.
I think so, too. But, that's, if we're really looking at
you gotta pick
one. I'm gonna have to say my 2 because they're tied.
You gotta pick one?
No.
You can't bet on 2. You gotta bet on 1.
fine. You know what? How about this? We'll keep a theme. Because you're right. I think Rhiannon would be a poor writing choice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the other sibling, Brennan.
But there's so many theories that he's actually evil.
I know.
And he's been dead this whole book series. I have no emotional attachment to Brennan.
But I think it'd be interesting from a writing perspective to spend, like... Because we don't get to spend a whole lot of time with him in Iron Flame. But we get to spend some. Yeah. And it's like Violet gets... So there is a connection with Violet there, right? And, like, of course, we all like Mira more.
Yes.
So from a reader's perspective, Mira would hurt more. But I think from a story perspective, Brennan would hurt just as bad to a certain extent.
I don't think I would cry over Brennan.
I wouldn't either, but the fact that he was dead and then came back just for him to die again.
For real this time?
For real. Like, for realsies would be an interesting, like, plot thing to happen. Just because, like, Violet will feel like, I just got you back, and now you're fucking dead. So that could be an interesting thing, especially if we get to spend a chunk of Onyx Storm with Brennan.
Maybe Xaden dies.
I don't think so. I don't think she's that brave.
There's a lot of theories that Xaden's the endgame, though.
I really don't think that Rebecca Yarros is that good of a writer or that brave to kill off Xaden.
Yeah. Dane?
Dane? Oh, that was the other one I said. Damn it. No, Dane was the one I thought originally. Yeah. Because, like, if he died, from a writing perspective, he got part of a redemption arc in Iron Flame.
He has a whole book for a new redemption arc. Kind of like her...
We really get to know him. Someone online was like, what if, like, the miscommunication bullshit happens again in book 3.
DNFing.
I know. But because that's going on, and Dane's now, like, is now kind of, like, realizing, like, what it means to be a good friend. He actually becomes a good friend.
Jackass.
Yeah. He actually becomes a good friend to Violet while Xaden's, like, not letting her near him and stuff. And then...
The whole Red Eyes.
And the whole Red Eye bullshit. But, and then Dane and Violet kind of have, like, a thing in this book. And then Dane, like, sacrifices himself by the end of the book.
That would be a really good writing storyline thing, and I think that would cause some emotions.
Yeah. Especially because, like, after listening to... I listened to Iron Flame. After listening to Iron Flame, I do like Dane. I can't say I don't like Dane. Like, he pissed me off in the first book, but even from a writing perspective, he's still an interesting character. Yeah. So if he did die, you know what? I'm gonna have to go with my first, in our text message, first one.
Dane.
It's gonna have to be Dane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stick with
Dane.
That
makes sense. I can be convinced that it's Dane. Yeah,
Dane or Mira is dead.
Yeah.
One of them.
I'm gonna say Mira, and I'm probably gonna lose it, but it's fine.
Dane or Mira. It's gonna be sad either way.
It is gonna be sad.
Especially because I do feel like we're really gonna get to know, I really do feel like we're gonna get to know Dane in this next book. Yeah. And that's why it would probably crush my soul.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why it would be so sad. Because, like, we do like Mira, but she's also not a super likable character.
I don't think she's meant to be. And that's kind of fun. That's the fun part about her.
Yeah. I would be extra sad if Mira dies, because I'm still holding out for Serena. I still need it.
You're like, I need that shit right now.
I do. We need more women love.
That's true. Yeah. That's why I was, like, pleasantly
WLWs,
surprised.
if you will.
Oh my god. That's some fan fiction shit right there.
Thank you. It's where I'm from.
You just live on AO3 secretly?
I used to, yes. That was my home base. Yeah.
Yeah, you and your Les Miserables
fan
fiction.
Lordy. And I can never say it.
I can't say it either.
Enchilras?
I don't know.
I love Grantaire. Enchilras.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. It's the sunshine. Actually, it's not even sunshine. It's just, like, apathetic passion.
Yeah.
Dichotomy.
That is fun.
It's so good.
That is really fun.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one is Dishonored, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay. Well, now that we got some chit chat out of the way and some book news out of the way and bets we're taking.
We have some bets. We don't have stakes, but we have bets.
Yeah, we'll just have bragging rights.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Like, whoever wins it gets to say that they're better at calling plot points than the other.
It's you.
No, it might be Mira, and then I'll have to say that you're better at calling plot points.
That would be nice. A little bit redemption over here.
Yeah. We love a good redemption arc.
I need one.
Oh no.
All right, so let's get into today's literary gauntlet.
Yes, we have some games to play. So the first one up is what we're calling chaotic pairings.
Yes.
So it would be like within the same series, so you can't like cross series. Okay. But within the same series, what couples do you think should exist just for the laughs? Not because it would be good, not because it'd be interesting. It could be interesting, but mostly because it's funnier than hell.
Okay. Can I go first?
Go for it.
I'm thinking Fourth Wing again.
Okay.
And
I just thought of a Fourth Wing one too.
I think I could be remembering this person wrong, so tell me if I'm not thinking of the right person. But Rhiannon and Riddick. Okay,
yeah, our funny guy and Rhiannon.
Yeah, because she would absolutely beat the shit out of him for just existing.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But though I think, is Rhiannon canonically gay?
I think she is, yeah.
Because I know she has a girlfriend. So that'd still be funny.
Yeah.
That's what do you call it? A beard? He could be her beard. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that's like basically like fake partner while you're with somebody else to hide the fact that you're gay.
Yeah. She could be bi.
Could be bi. That'd be fun. We love some bi representation.
We do love some bi representation. Doesn't happen often.
Yeah, true. That is very true. Shit. If we're talking Fourth Wing, it's very much like enemies to lovers, like true enemies to lovers.
I think I know.
Dane and Xaden.
Oh no, that was not what I was gonna say. That one would be chaotic.
Listen,
that came out. I did not expect that.
Dane and Xaden would be hilarious.
Oh, he could never.
I know. That's the point.
Especially like when you consider the signets.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. That's why it's hilarious.
That would be like a fated mate
bullshit sort of situation. That would be funny. I need that fan fiction. Someone write it.
The fated mate, Dane and Xaden.
Yes, where Dane just not even on purpose, fully just like turn accidentally bonds with Dane.
Hilarious.
That would be funny as shit.
If he actually bonded, like, Taryn instead. Yeah. So it's Taryn, Segale, Dane, and Xaden.
Who did you think I was thinking?
I always thought you were going to say Jack and Violet.
Listen, I've read too many fan fictions with that.
People actually think it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And
that's like some Draco Hermione bullshit.
It is. And half the time you can guess what the big theme with the Jack and Violet fan fiction is. You can guess what kind of AO3 tags are there.
Hate sex.
More non-con. Hate sex for sure. More non-con tends to be typical.
That's interesting.
Yeah, not what we want.
That's not what we want. We do not condone that in this household.
No, we don't. Consensual non-con, yes.
Yeah, that's a whole other subset.
That's more like dark romance vibes.
Yes, it is.
But like true non-con, no. Nope. It's never even properly written. That's my problem too. That's another problem.
You've read them?
Which one were we talking about? There's like a book where like, I think I was talking to you about it, where it's like someone gets assaulted in the book, right?
Yeah.
And then it serves no fucking purpose. Like she does, it's like in the sense of like, it's just there to hurt you, rather than be like a character moment or like a world building moment, you know, to show like the world's super dark and this is just how people treat men or women or like lower class people, blah, 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 you know? Like that's a method. Is it a good one? It depends. Like, because if you write it where like it happens because it's the reality of the world, fuck this shit sort of situation. And then it's like we go through the process of the character handling the trauma and like intimacy issues are then handled too because like this shit happened and that a lot of people who go through that don't necessarily want to be intimate.
Yeah, understandable.
In that sort of situation. Like, author has to handle it right, and they don't.
No, never.
But I've read it in a couple different books, and I can't even remember which one it was.
I remember you telling me about one. I don't remember what you were reading.
Was it the Alice in Wonderland book?
It was before that.
Was it before
Whatever you were reading before that, where it was like, there was a non-con situation for the character, and then like she immediately turned and got intimate with somebody else. Yeah. As though that was going to be
the way that most people would handle it traumatically even. And it's like, motherfucker, and it's never addressed afterwards.
Right.
Because that's helpful.
Yeah.
So.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't like that.
So if we had to add that to the pet peeves list from earlier episodes, that shit.
Putting realistic traumas in that are not handled or researched correctly.
Correct. It pisses me off.
Yes, it does.
Anywho,
on that note, let's go into Kingdom of the Wicked.
You want to move on to that?
Yeah.
Okay. For sure.
Our real book.
Our actual book that we're going to talk about. So, Kingdom of the Wicked is by Kerri Maniscalco. And basically, it is about this chick named Amelia.
Yes.
Who is a witch in, like, I think it's like 1900s, 1800s.
It feels
Italy.
Like mid-19th century, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Sort of that era. And
Sicily
specifically. Thank you.
Yes.
I knew it was Italy, but I couldn't remember. And she's a witch, and she has a twin sister named Vittoria.
Yes.
And her family are part of just one of a couple covens in that area, and they have to hide themselves from, like witch hunters and stuff like that.
The humans.
Keep it themselves a secret because they don't want to be burned at the stake.
That would be a bummer.
That would suck. And she grew up hearing stories of the Wicked, which are like the 7 princes of hell.
Yes, which is so cool.
That is such a fun
They are
concept.
representative of the 7 deadly sins, but they're like the princes of hell, where they each have a sin that they represent.
Yeah, and that's kind of like their whole vibe.
Yeah, the malvagi.
Yeah, there you go. And so Amelia's whole life turns like upside down when her twin sister gets brutally murdered.
Just murked.
Yeah, brutally murdered. And so she tries to summon a demon to help her figure out how her sister was murdered and what happened to her. And she accidentally summons a prince of hell instead. Oopsies.
Yeah.
And from there...
you kind of start a murder mystery fantasy romance, which is really cool.
Yeah. But it definitely more leans into like the murder mystery fantasy aspect rather than the romance,
right? Which
is great.
Yes.
We love a subplot romance.
We do. It adds a little zest without making the whole meal citrus.
Yeah. Sometimes
to use our food analogies in honor of the book, because my God, do I need a cookbook based off of all of Maniscalco's books.
Yeah. Well and truly, like, just half, like, though I will say, so I've read book 1 and book 2, because it's a trilogy.
Yes.
Book 2 kind of died down on the food.
Well, I think part of that, too, is that her life, as you said, turned totally upside down, because she started as this very innocent, what are they, 18 years old?
18, yeah.
18 years old. Her only real goal for her life is that she wants to take over her family's trattoria, which is that Sicilian restaurant. And so her whole brain is wired of, like, romance novels and falling in love and making recipes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she witnesses this brutal murder and needs to solve it.
Yeah.
And so it kind of rewires her. And I think it's as we were talking about before, the trauma of it all really kind of turns her brain
into like
from food to murder mystery survival.
Yeah. Murder mystery survival vengeance.
Yes.
Like,
she becomes almost a whole different person.
Yeah. And I think that's something I really enjoyed of book 1, but got bored of in book 2. Like, I hate to say like I'm bored of someone's trauma, because that's horrible to say. But
she hasn't moved on from it.
it's not even moving on. It's like processing it and taking it with her rather than being stuck.
Yeah.
And because, like, I can understand that in book one. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about book one is that I feel like plot-wise, her grief is almost part of the plot, and it moves forward.
Right.
So she processes her grief in different ways over the course of the first book.
Right. She kind of goes through the stages of grief almost, where she's really sad, she's full of rage, she never really comes to that resolution, though.
Yeah, she stays in rage for the most part. But it feels like she's processing it, at least. Like, it feels like she's going through it rather than staying in it. And that's what I can appreciate about good writing. And then in book two, that kind of, like...
falls off.
I felt like that fell off.
Well,
anyway.
I wouldn't know. I'm only in book one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, anywho...
But plot-wise, I feel like it was pretty good, where you start off with this very innocent... The first 50 to 60 pages are super slow, because it doesn't feel like you're moving anywhere. It's very much, I think, supposed to set that plot of she's just this little innocent 18-year-old, like, thinking back to being 18. You don't have those critical, like... Most skills. People don't have the skills that would put you on the track to deal with some of the things that she's dealt with. Brutal murder, accidentally summoning a prince of hell.
And then having to deal with more princes of hell showing up.
Yeah.
And then them using, like, their abilities on her.
Right, to manipulate her feelings and, like, pull their sin forward. So you have envy, you have greed, you have wrath, you have, I think those are the only...
Yeah, envy, greed, wrath.
Lust.
Lust does show up too.
Yes.
I was like, there's also another asshole in here.
Yeah. Lust is, I feel like, less of... No, I feel like greed is the least asshole-ish of them all.
Yeah, greed was the least...
Also, I can't get over Greed's little frog.
Yeah, his little frog!
His symbol is a frog.
I love it.
And his whole thing.
They're so greedy because they want to live on both land and in water.
That cracked me up.
I'm like, no. He gives, like, Frog Prince vibes now that I think about it. That, which makes sense in the Frog Prince. The whole thing is he's greedy. So that actually is a fun little, like...
Nod to the Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not intentional, but it is kind of funny.
It's kind of fun. Now I'm picturing is, like, this extremely attractive guy with just a frog on his shoulder.
I bet he would do it.
Just a frog. Hanging out on his shoulder. No shirt, because that's just how apparently they all are.
You gotta show off what you got, I guess.
Flaunt it if you got it.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think, what interesting plot points were there?
The one criticism I had about the plot has to do with going from so slow of, like, the Malvagi were just these rumors, these whispers. They're not actually thought to be true or real.
Or, well, I think the vibe was, it's not that they're not true, because from the other covens that we do get to meet, the ones that do, like, the darker stuff, they're like, no, these people are real. I think it's more of that, like, that family was hiding it from Amelia and Vittoria.
Okay.
I will counteract on that.
Okay.
That it wasn't that, like, they, from Amelia's perspective, they were myths. For sure. I agree. But I think throughout the story, there's, like, hints, and this might just be, like, a writing issue, which is a criticism, then I will agree with the criticism there, but, like, I felt like when I was reading the book, it's like, oh no, like, Grandma's just keeping a shit ton of secrets.
Grandma was keeping a shit ton of secrets. We'll get to Nonna.
Yeah, we'll get to Nonna. But,
oh boy.
Yeah, continue though with your issue.
It was just like, it all of a sudden, one after another, it just kind of, like, train wrecked into you, and it felt like a lot all at once.
That I will agree with.
Where it was, she accidentally summons the Prince of Hell, and then all of a sudden, from it being rumors or people knowing that they were real but not thinking that they were free, still thinking they were trapped in hell, to all of a sudden there's 4 princes of hell.
Yeah.
There were 4 princes of hell that were just already in the human world.
Yeah. Because Greed for sure was already there.
Yeah.
Because he was running that casino.
Mm-hmm.
Envy
was already there.
What evidence do we have for that? Because I don't remember.
Because nobody summoned him. And also,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Nobody summoned Luster.
Mm-hmm.
Or even really Greed, even. Though,
well, we had the pink and gray candles.
That's true.
With time.
Yeah.
That was Greed.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Greed was summoned, but then the other 2 just happened to show up.
Yeah, and it was all what it felt. I wouldn't have minded so much if it didn't feel like it was within 100 pages.
Yeah.
From when her sister died to like suddenly all 4 are there and all 4 are fucking with her. Yeah. Not literally fucking with her, but like messing around.
They thought about it.
They lusted at least.
Honestly, I could have lived without. Oddly enough, I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like Greed fulfilled a decent role and makes sense because, like, Vittoria is supposed to be, I think, the one that summoned him.
Yes.
So he fulfills a role of, like, helping with the mystery of it all. I almost feel like, other than, like, being the bad guy, Envy doesn't really fulfill a role.
He kind of, I feel like, pushes things into motion.
But I feel like that then, like, I feel like either Envy or Lust could have gone.
Lust didn't need to be there. He didn't serve anything for the plot.
I thought, but I liked him in a way. Like, I liked what happened post Lust situation from a character perspective, though.
Okay.
Just because I like the idea that of really truly having that moment which if Envy could have done something similar, I would have been equally happy. But I liked, like, really seeing what the Princes of Hell can do when they get their sin straight up to the forefront of a person.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a really interesting character thing. That's what Lust did. Now, if Envy could have done something like that...
He did have.
Not really.
He had her almost kill herself because she was so upset over not having what other people have.
That's true. But even then, it didn't feel like it... Like, it felt like that happened, and then she got over it.
Yeah.
Like, it was so fast where... the fact that I remember the Lust situation better than the Envy situation says a lot.
I loved, and the Envy situation will make sense when you get to the second series.
Okay.
Because I accidentally read that one.
Who cares?
So, I mean, but it will make sense why he couldn't.
Couldn't what?
Do the same thing that Lust did.
Okay.
As far as taking over his powers, but I did like to piggyback off of yours, the reaction, like you said, to Lust, where it was like Lust represents everything that's pleasant in your life, and then once you're bombarded with everything that's pleasant, when it's taken away from you, like when he canceled his powers, he kind of took every pleasant feeling from her. I liked that kind of nod towards depression.
Yeah, and I liked how drawn out that reaction was, because these 7 vices are meant to be things that when you're overindulged in, it isn't, and you finally start to deal with it, there is meant to be a gap.
Yeah.
That you have to figure out how to fill. So the fact that we didn't really get that until the Lust situation happened is disappointing.
Yeah.
Because, like, if we could have cut I feel like if we could have cut Lust and then did something like that with either, like, Greed or Envy, or hell, even Wrath. Like, that could have been real fun for Wrath. What happens when all your anger is just gone and you're left with nothing.
I don't think he's going to use his powers on her, though.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So, see, like, there's this... That's why Lust does fill a role in us seeing the powers of the 7 sins.
Right.
Which, again, if, like, Envy could have done it, I would have been happy with Lust not being there.
And Greed we don't see in the forefront. It's more of, like, everybody else that's in his gambling den. And you get a little bit of it. Because I think she's also supposed to be pretty resistant to their powers.
Yeah. Yeah, except for Lust, apparently.
Well, she has a lot of that built up.
That's true. But, Yeah, I think if we could have cut back on the number of princes,
yes,
but still had the value that all of them brought, I agree it would have been better.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I wanted to meet only like 2 or 3 sins per book.
Yeah. That's a lot to just all of a sudden, and it's not a very long book. No. So it's only like 380 pages or something.
It's a pretty short book.
And so to go from the first third of it is almost nothing. And then the second third is like everything gets dropped on you. This world building just kind of gets shoved down your throat.
Like suddenly we have greed has popped up. Now we have envy's here. Oh, wait, here's wrath and lust.
Yeah.
And then, oh, wait, pride's looking for somebody.
Yeah.
All we're missing is sloth. Literally, all we're missing is sloth.
Right.
And gluttony.
Yes.
And it's like, what the fuck? Like, we're only missing, what, 2?
Uh-huh.
That haven't shown up in book 1.
Yeah.
Now, if they were mentioned...
And it shows up so fast. It's like 150 pages, and it's like, I'm feeling like I'm getting shoved down my throat.
Yeah.
Of all of these different...
That's true. That I agree with that.
That was the one thing that I had the criticism for the plot pacing, because... Like you said, some of them could have been cut out. Like, we didn't need to have all of them in there at once. Like, I understand the pride plot point. That needed to be mentioned.
Yeah, which it was that... The pride plot point, I think, was handled very well. I won't... Like, because I like it that he was mentioned, and that gives, like, wrath a motivation. So, all pride does is serve as a motivation, rather than as a character. Which is good. Yeah. I'd prefer that. I would have preferred that for... 2 more of them.
Yes. And, like, the lust was very good to show the powers, but it served absolutely nothing for the plot points.
Yeah.
Other than to maybe show some of their romance relationship building.
That's true.
To show why her attitude towards Wrath flopped so quickly.
Yeah. But, yeah, if they could have... Even from, like, a character perspective, lust is kind of boring. They think about it.
Yeah.
He's just lust.
Yeah.
Which, I say that in the sense of, like, everything is good, because it's almost like Wrath had to explain Lust's character to us post, which is dumb.
It is.
Like, if Lust could have done actions to be like, oh, take it with power, oh, I hope you can deal with, like, that emptiness on your own, and then leaves, like, something like that would have been fun. And then shown us, like, how careless Lust is, and almost can be, like, that carelessness that people... sometimes have when they're just so consumed by, like, physical attraction.
What they want.
Yeah. Which would have been really interesting to see, like, that as a character. Yeah. But that didn't happen.
Or to see the space left after greed, like with Domenico.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be, like, all consumed by greed, and then you see him at the end of the book, and he's fine. Yeah. He's just operating like normal.
So, it would have been much more interesting to see, like, what happens when people are consumed by, like, just taking and taking. That would have been, that would have been really interesting. Because I think you only needed, well and truly, I only think you, based on, like, the following books, too, or at least what I know so far of the following books, all you needed was wrath, greed, and envy. Yeah. I think if you would have kept to those 3, mentioned pride, because that's a motivator.
It's a major plot point.
Then I think it would have been good. And then Lust comes in, like, book 2. That would have been interesting. Yeah. Because book 2, like, and, like, not really a spoiler, because it's, like, a big plot point, that she goes to hell, right? Because we're figuring she's gonna go to fucking hell. Yes. Like, that's just, it happens, like, she signs away her soul to pride at the end of book 1. Okay? Yeah.
Because that's what he needs.
So she's going to hell in book 2, and there's this whole thing where, like, gluttony throws, like, the best parties, which makes sense.
It makes sense.
Right? Which would have been great if it's like, gluttony throws all the best parties, and, like, lust is there to, like, really boost the mood, right? That would have been a fun time to introduce lust. Yeah. Because, like, if you're going to be having gluttony and lust go... They say in the book, gluttony and lust go hand in hand.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like greed is in there, too, with it. Yeah.
So it, like, would have been a fun little tie-in if you did, like, greed, lust, and gluttony. Throwing
just an absolute banger.
Yeah. Exactly. And they didn't do that. That would have been so much more fun. And then, like, Pride doesn't show up until, like, the end of the fucking book, which is great. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with holding off on Pride until book 3, even.
Right.
Just to, like,
if he's not serving a purpose, don't mention him.
Yeah. And so, like, it's really, really interesting. And I will say, another positive thing about the plot, and then we can really move into the characters, even though we've kind of already touched on it a little bit. But you can start sharing your opinion about Amelia in a minute. But I will say book 1 did a really good job at foreshadowing some stuff that happens in book 2.
Okay.
There's a specific plot point about, like, the devil and the king of hell, and, like, the role that her cornicas, like, her two... Cornicellos, thank you. I was like, what the fuck are they called? The cornicellos play.
Yes.
In, like, what do they do? What are they for? Like, we know I think in book 1, they mentioned the devil's horns and stuff like that. But, like, they hint at some stuff that's, like, that when you get to the fulfillment, you're like, when you think about it, even in book 1, you're like, oh, fuck, this was kind of already mentioned in book 1.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, like where the devil is supposed to be pride. Because they mentioned that about halfway through, where pride is associated as the sin with the devil himself.
Yeah.
And so the Prince Pride, King of Hell.
Yeah. But there's some stuff that about the King of Hell and about the devil that is, like, completely flips on its head in book 2.
Interesting.
That when you think about it, though, like, when the flip happens, you're like, you think back to some stuff that happens in book 1, you're like, oh shit, that makes sense. Fuck.
So it's like a really nice build up kind of. Where...
Yes, when we finally meet the devil, it's like, oh shit. Wait, this was mentioned then and that, and he did that thing, so that's... Oh my god!
So we do love when you have that really good plot development where it builds and builds and builds and builds.
Yeah. And I'm really struggling to say some stuff about, like, Pride and the devil, like, his in the role as the devil, because, like, there's some major spoilers with that.
No, don't do it.
So I'm trying to keep it to myself.
Don't spoil.
Just because I hope that you read book 2.
I will be reading book 2. I have all 3. I just have to get there.
Yeah. So, because there's just some fun stuff that happens in book 2 that overall, while book 2 was, like, a 3-star for me compared to the 4-star that is this one, there is some really fun plot stuff that carries over from book 1.
Yeah.
So I will say that's a good, like, point in
that
book
is
1
nice,
direction.
Yeah. The plot, I felt, other than, like, the couple of things that I had criticism about, of just feeling absolutely bombarded by the different plot developments with all this princes and all the things that they do. Overall, I thought it was okay. I'd give it like a 3 or 4-star probably for the plot, just because the beginning was so slow.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's like, for me, I like, because I think I partially give it a 4-star due to context of when I was reading it, because I was just so fucking tired of romantic plot lines rather than subplot lines.
I love Maniscalco's writing. I think she's fantastic at it.
I agree with that. The writing is very well done.
And I'm sure part of the slowness of the beginning was to really get the idea of what kind of shock everything that happens after was for Amelia.
And I think it almost is like that, the feeling of grief when things start really going, it does feel like it goes fast. Yeah. When you're hyper-fixating on something.
So it's very realistic in that point.
Yeah. But, anywho, speaking of characters. Characters.
Yes.
Per normal in most fantasy books, I like the main male better than the main female. Just because I think Wrath is interesting, and he gets more interesting as the books go on. Okay. Though, again, they both kind of stagnate in book 2, but that's my problem with most book 2s.
Yeah, they're kind of in the middle.
Yeah. And either they're really good, or they're poorly done. Or they're in between, and you're like, okay, lukewarm.
What's next?
So, I liked Wrath, actually, quite a bit. Okay. Even though he served as more of a primary side character, in a way. Yeah. Like, he was there, but he wasn't necessarily, like, the main character. Like, he wasn't the traditional FMC. No, not at all. But I enjoyed that, actually. I enjoyed him as, like, a main male, if I had to put it that. Like, that.
Because he wasn't intended to be at the forefront on this one.
Yeah. And I think as a male character in fantasy, he's pretty good, considering other characters that claim to be morally gray and then aren't really. But he's like, I am morally gray. He is morally gray.
Yep, he's gonna do what serves him.
Yeah. And like, there's no, and like, you just kind of have to either accept it or move on. And I love that about his character, and it's almost uncompromising. So I find that to be really fun about the character.
He's very much... The one thing that I really like about her writing with her characters is they are the embodiment of their sins.
That is very true. Wrath is very wrathful.
Yes, he is. Which is good. That's what he's supposed to be.
Stabby, stabby.
Stabby, stabby, indeed.
But you have deep feelings on Amelia.
Well,
not deep feelings. You have opinions on Amelia.
I have opinions on Amelia. And I think part of it could be that she is well written as an 18-year-old.
That's true.
And 18-year-olds are, you know...
Annoying.
Yeah. They're not adults. They don't have the same thought processes as adults do. And so that's a character flaw, but not really a character flaw. It's just the stage of development at which she is at.
It's a good character flaw.
It is a good character. She's 18. Yeah. And she's annoying as shit about it.
Yeah. And she's an 18-year-old going through the borderline worst trauma of her life.
Right. And because they say there's a special bond between twins of, like, if you're not a twin, you have no idea. Yeah. You can't even begin to imagine it. And to see almost firsthand your twins murder in such a brutalized
and desecration.
Way. Yeah.
Yes.
So that makes sense from that standpoint. It's just like, I want her to move on. Not move on from her sister's death, but like she, throughout the book, was pretty stuck on the idea that Wrath is the worst. And it isn't until like the last 5 chapters of the book or something that she starts to have a different opinion of him.
Yeah. That's very 18-year-old, though.
It is very 18. That's why I'm like, the problems that I have with her is the fact that she's 18.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. And I think almost, though, like, she has such a problem. But I also think it's an interesting choice as a character because I feel like it almost speaks to how isolated the witch community is and how mistrustful they're almost bred to be.
Yeah.
Like how she was almost raised to be mistrustful of anyone that's not her family. So that could also speak to, on top of the 18-year-old thing, I think you could argue that her not trusting Wrath and like just being determined he's the bad guy is a product of her family and of Nonna.
Nonna. Oh, Nonna. But I mean, otherwise, Amelia, I feel like, is an interesting character. The only problems I have with her are because of, you said the isolation and kind of the brainwashing that she had growing up. Yeah. And that Nonna.
Let's talk about Nonna.
Let's talk about Nonna.
Let's talk about sweet, sweet Nonna.
Is she sweet?
Not at all. I think she raised her children and her grandchildren to be ignorant, and it got one of them killed. And I think it almost, you can argue, based off of some information, not only in book 1, but again, book 2, that carries over into book 2.
Okay.
You could argue that it also led to the partial downfall of some of the other covens in the area.
Yep. Well, because they started getting murdered.
Yeah.
In the book 1.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's just stories, like, but also it's signs of the myth being true.
True. So she keeps saying, like, oh, they're real, like, don't go outside, don't do this, don't do that. And it's like, instead of saying don't, what if you taught your granddaughters how to protect themselves?
Right? And that was, I feel like Wrath brought that point up, too, of, like, if Nonna's not teaching you to protect yourself, maybe you should start asking questions as to why.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's almost a direct quote of what he said.
I think that is, yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't even... Now that I think about it, like, because again, I'm processing book 2 right now, because I think a lot of, like, the conversation we're having right now carries over into that, and I don't think she ever really starts asking questions.
No, she's taught not to.
Yeah, but even when Wrath starts making good points, and she agrees that Wrath is making good points, she still doesn't ask the questions.
Yep.
And...
That's the Italian family lifestyle there. You don't question Nonna.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because family in the Italian family is everything.
That's true.
And especially the grandparents are everything.
They are the matriarch and patriarch.
Yeah.
Like, they are there.
Right. But it is suspicious that Nonna had so much power and knew so much, but, like, never taught them. Because when she banishes envy, I keep wanting to say Reed for some reason. When she banishes envy, she has this big spell and everything that Amelia's like, I didn't know she could do that.
Like, holy fuck,
what is this power?
Yeah, like, how the hell did you manage to pull that off?
Right.
And I think it's also interesting and also speaks to, I think, Nonna's character as, like, and this is something that shows up actually in a couple different books and media in general that makes no fucking sense to me, but yet keeps reoccurring. So I'm like, it has to be, like, maybe a age group thing or something, but where you're like, oh, these things are dangerous, don't do this, don't do that. And then, like, you're just expected to not do it. But when you start asking questions about, like, I'll still not do it, but, like, why are we not doing it? Like, maybe you should tell me the importance of not doing it so I don't get curious, as they do in book 1.
When they're 8.
When they're, like, 8. Like, if you're going to tell me not to, for the Cornicellos not to, you know, touch or be together or whatever.
Well, she did say that it would bring about the end of the world.
Yeah.
But
like,
the end of the world to an 8-year-old doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, like you have to, like, actually explain shit at some point. Like, you can't just say, like, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
And not expect there to be consequences to doing that.
Right.
But that trope almost shows up in all of media.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off.
I think it's kind of like to set the rebellion up of
Teenage rebellion?
The teenage rebellion, yeah. It's young adult. This is the first book is a young adult book.
You can't see my face.
No, she's making the most disgusted face ever.
But it's like, because even for a young adult novel, that's stupid.
It is.
Like,
but it is, I feel like, standard family behavior.
Like, don't ever question adults and don't ask questions.
Yep.
That's so stupid.
It is.
That's so dumb.
That's how it was for me.
I mean, fair. I think that's how it was for me, too.
Yeah.
I think I blocked it out.
It's also, like, an Italian family thing.
That's true. That is true.
So, where it's like, you don't question your elders, you're told to do something and you better do it. I could say that because Italian family.
There you go. But, yeah, so I think that was another, like, a trope, almost like it's not necessarily a problem that I had with the book, but it's definitely something I noticed that I didn't like.
The fact that Nonna was never questioned.
Yeah, and in any time someone tried to, they, like, she shut them down.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes for an interesting character, for sure. And a realistic one, it sounds like.
Yes.
From what you've been telling me. But, like, also you're like, if there's not a moment in this case, book 3, because I know it doesn't come in book 2, because that's not the purpose of book 2. There's not a moment in book 3 where Nonna kind of gets life slapped in the face. Like, if she doesn't get her, like, if life doesn't slap her in the face.
Her comeuppance.
Yeah, her comeuppance. If she doesn't get her fucking comeuppance in book 3, I think I will have to put that down as bad writing. Just because, like, I think the purpose of that character or trope in media of, like, don't question your parents is to bring about the thing of, well, sometimes you need to.
Yes.
And there's consequences when you don't share all the necessary information. I won't say all information.
Right.
The necessary information with the necessary parties.
Yes. If you withhold things, there's probably a reason why you're withholding it, and it's not going to be for the benefit of the person you're quote-unquote trying to protect.
Exactly.
Because there comes a point, obviously to an 8-year-old, it's different than an 18-year-old.
Correct.
But there comes a point in which, if it starts seeming like every single sign that the world is ending and hell is coming to Earth, you should probably tell your granddaughters that, hey, there are signs and here are what these signs mean, and we shouldn't just be afraid of them, we should be doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Like, hey, by the way, the 7 princes of hell are real.
Yes, as I've been saying the whole time.
But, anyway, 7 princes of hell are real. Those 2 things you're wearing, those are the devil's horns.
Yes.
that's why you're not supposed to put them together, because it could literally call the devil to you.
Yeah.
Like, or at least attract his attention if he can't get to you. So, like, that's a problem. So here's what we're gonna do about it. Here's, you know, those protection spells we were doing even as, like, a babies? Like, we had you reciting? We're gonna keep doing that on, like, X time.
Yes. And also, here are a bunch of other spells from our family grimoire of if a devil comes to you, here's the spell to send them back to hell.
Or here's the proper Latin if you're gonna summon anything. Here's the proper Latin that doesn't accidentally engage you to them.
That was a fun little point.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one thing I should note. I want to say from the end of book 1, because I know you still had like 2 chapters left.
Yeah.
You did read when she tried to re-summon Wrath, right?
Yes.
And how he didn't come?
Yes.
Do you remember what words she used?
The same ones. Yeah. So she married him?
Like, she still engaged him.
Oh, but she didn't marry him this time.
No, she never married him in the first place.
No, I know, but it would be like if you say the engagement words and then you say them again, like a marriage.
Yeah. No, he's, like, technically, like, but, and then I told you also at the end of the book she signs with the House Pride, but technically she's engaged
That's what
to
I was
Wrath.
wondering.
So, like...
Because it said Pride needs a wife.
Yeah.
Not a soul.
Yeah. Pride needs a wife, not a soul. And so, but the fact is, it wouldn't have mattered because she still said those words.
Yeah.
And that's still technically, I think it explained where it's like, he was like, yeah, no, I was gutted. So, like, I couldn't get back to you. But with the way that they explain how witches' magic works, just because it doesn't fully go through doesn't mean it didn't work.
Okay. Because the demon can't come doesn't mean that it's not a
binding
thing.
him.
Yeah.
So, because he even says, like, when you said those things and you released me, you didn't really release me. So...
I'm still stuck with you.
We're still stuck with each other.
Yeah.
And it takes her so long to realize that in book 2.
She's not very smart.
She's not smart.
Amelia is not intended to be smart. She is intended to be, like, passionate.
Yeah.
And hardworking, kind of.
She's, like, almost like stereotypical immigrant Italian.
Yeah. Hardworking and passionate.
Yeah. Like, if you think about it, like, stereotypical American dream Italian.
Yeah. If I work hard enough, I will achieve my dream of having my Italian restaurant.
Yeah. So, but, like, I just wanted to point that out because it's not really a spoiler. Anyone with 2 brain cells can put 2 and 2 together. Because it is young adult. I don't think certain things are meant to be hard to put together.
Yes. Well, the first book is young adult. The second book is apparently
not young adult. Though it's still, if you go on Goodreads, it's labeled as young adult.
I guess you can be an adult but still be young.
There's some rated R shit that happens in that.
All you have to be is 18?
New adult.
New adults.
I think they started, like, making a category for that. It is not young adult.
It is not younger than 18.
I feel like young adult implies high school.
That's what we have started to use it as, but high schoolers aren't adults unless they're 18.
Yeah.
So.
But, like... Yeah, but even then, it's like, it implies a person with a certain level of maturity.
Yes.
And I don't think rated R scenes are what we would want young adults reading.
I don't want teenagers reading it.
Like, if you have a teen in your number, then you don't count. You should not be reading book 2.
Nope.
You can read book 1. It still has some darker stuff, so you should be in high school, but, like, you can read book 1. You need to be of legal drinking age to read book 2.
There it is. That's mature.
It's mature.
There we go. Not just adult. Mature.
Because there's just some shit, and I'm like, ugh.
Is it dark romance?
Not. Excuse me.
Not. That
out. No, we're gonna leave it in.
Oh no. Poor reader. Poor listeners.
But it's not dark romance, but it's distinctly descriptive, and there's just some, like, stuff that happens. Like, there's a whole scene. Okay, I have to talk about this one.
Okay.
Because it's a sex scene, so...
It's book 2.
It's book
Spoiler.
2. But it's not even a spoiler, because we knew this was happening. It's not a plot point. It's a fun, like, character moment. But basically, like, we know after book 1, like, at some point, they're gonna sleep together.
Yes.
We know at some point Amelia and Wrath are gonna bang. And in book 2, there's this moment where, like, you know, heavy makeout session. They're really going at it.
Hot and heavy.
It's getting hot and heavy.
Just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. And, like, they're going at it. And there's this whole thing where, like he's, like, getting there, like, or getting her there. And then he, like, stops. And he's like, well, yeah, you know, you might have to take things into your own hands. And then walks away.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
You think you don't need me? Okay.
It's not even that. He's like, no, he, like, could have, like, done it.
Yeah.
Maybe not put it in, but, like, could have done something. And he chooses not to and walks away.
That's pretty dark romance.
Yeah, it's edging.
Yeah.
You can call it it. Yeah. But it's just this moment, but, like, everything that leads up to it and the conversation around it and, like, the conversation after it with Amelia and, like, the friend she makes is very, I'm just like, you need a certain level of maturity to, like, truly understand and, like, get beyond, like, the hee fun little sex scene, you know? To look beyond it for the purpose of, like, the plot, almost. And it's, like, or character development aspect. So that's why I say that it's, like, more mature, too. Just because of how the sex scenes are handled. They're meant for character development, not for...
Enjoyment for the reader.
Enjoyment. Not for erotica. So that's why I say that. And that book 2 is please be of drinking age.
Yes. Please be mature of drinking age.
But
your prefrontal cortex should be almost developed.
Almost. Because Lord knows we don't get there till 25.
That's why I said, yeah.
Okay.
So, characters, we have Nonna, we have Amelia. Vittoria, I feel like, is the smart twin. Because she had already figured out everything. She was more brave, more forward with everything. She had basically put together the whole plot, and now Amelia's trying to follow it.
Yeah. With just her instincts.
Her tiny little brains.
Her tiny little brains.
And her well-meaningness. I would call her well-meaning.
She is well-meaning. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, what did we think about... We talked about the writing already, and I agree, her writing is really well done. What did you think of the world building? Do you think there was world building?
Yes and no. It was not clear, if that makes sense. Okay. Like, it was not done as well as I feel like the second series is, where I've said this before, but, like, I started the second series and I felt like I should know things already, but it was kind of refreshing to feel like I should know things already, because we're supposed to be in this world and she's supposed to be magical. She's supposed to kind of know all this stuff, but she still acts like she's never even heard of half of the things that they talk about. And, like, I get that it's partly because she's a good witch, not the dark witch. And so they don't know a whole lot about the summoning spells or anything, but it felt a lot like when all of the princes were being introduced one after another, it felt like I was getting world shoved down my throat. That's fair.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think, like, I agree with the, like, yes but no on the answer of is there world building?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's not world building in the sense of, like, the world that they live in. Because it's like, this is Italy.
Yeah.
You're expected to know what Italy in the mid-19th century was like. It's like, okay, I can at least imagine, and I can figure out what the social and class structure and all that
and
stuff.
It doesn't even really play into it.
Yeah, and it does a little bit, but not, like, majorly. Like, when it does, it's like, oh, you're just expected to know it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I will agree that, like, I feel like the Prince of Hell stuff wasn't even developed. Like, it wasn't even said, almost. Like, it was like, here's a prince, and here's what he does. And I wouldn't even call that world building. That's character building.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to know more about Hell. I want to know more about the magical world that's hidden.
Yeah, her witch's powers. Like, they drop in a couple things about moon-blessed chalk and grave rituals or whatever. and candles and things like
and
that.
flowers and herbs and stuff like that.
Right. That feels very traditional, almost Wicca.
It is. It actually, if you could argue that the her family, the DiCarlo, right? Is it their family? The DiCarlo family is basically a Wicca family.
That's what it felt like.
Especially like with the goddesses and stuff like that. Yeah, basically that's a Wicca family. Especially because it's all like light and love, and they only follow like a specific path that's deeply Wicca.
Yes.
Because in Wicca you like very strict on what you can and can't do.
The bones of animals need to be freely given. So
stuff like that. Where everything else is more of like New Age witchcraft. Not even New Age, it's just witchcraft.
Yeah.
Like traditional witchcraft almost.
Sacrifices and
though I did like that they went the route of like you need components to do magic, like you need components and intent to do things. I thought that was really fun compared to like everyone else is like, you don't need components, you just need the will.
Yeah.
You just need the will to do it. And I'm like, but that's boring.
Yeah.
After a while, at least.
So the components make sense, but it also makes me think, like, what's the difference between the DiCarlo family and just, like, a normal Italian citizen that makes this circle? Like, what makes them magical? Why do they have their summoning circle work versus somebody else that does all of the same exact steps?
Yeah. I think they explain it where it's, like, they're all descendants of, like,
The
goddess
Oh,
of the goddess. So it's like a lineal thing, which is another major witchcraft thing too. That like that real witches are those that are descended of other witches and da 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 da. That's a big European thing, actually, specifically European like witchcraft ideology. That it's like a familial line.
Interesting. And it doesn't get weaker as you marry non-witches. Like her dad wasn't.
It's, that he was born of a witch family but didn't have magic powers.
Okay.
So he's still in the bloodline. It's almost like it's a gene.
So is it incestual?
It doesn't seem like it is.
But there's only like 6 families.
Yep, so it probably does get Hello, royal family.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm specifically looking at the Japanese royal family. Because they don't allow them to even marry outside.
Yep.
Like they can marry like outside the family, but they have to marry royalty specifically. Like a male can marry a non-royal female, but if a female marries a non-royal male, they get kicked out.
Double standards, we love them.
And now they don't have a male heir. Because women can't inherit.
Yeah.
And there is like a woman, the current emperor does have a daughter who a lot of people like.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want her to inherit. But Parliament is moving so slow on like repealing that law. And the current like next in line is Ted.
Classic.
He's like a child.
We love a child emperor.
And we're
it
like,
never goes wrong.
God, what happens if this guy dies? They just changed the law for the poor previous emperor to advocate. It took that forever. Oh my God. Anyway.
Well, hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, world building was meh.
Yeah.
It was meh.
It was meh.
But I think it's because it did take place in like the real world.
Yeah. A little bit of urban fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you really don't need a world build, but you kind of do.
Like, we need to know more about this magic, guys.
Yeah. Because apparently it's a big central topic.
Yeah. And then they don't really... They just use, like, the little previews. The little, like, what is it called? Like, the little quotes.
Oh, yeah, the things of the grimoire.
Yeah. Like, that's almost the most world building we get.
Yeah, I mostly skip those.
I started reading them because I'm like, I wonder if I could use this.
Oh, okay. I didn't think they served anything, so I just started
like,
skipping
well and
them.
truly, when I read through them, I'm like, oh shit, no, I've done this before.
Really?
I've heard of this before.
Oh.
I, like, reckon... It's actually, if we're talking witchcraft-wise, it's very well researched.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the stuff I'm like...
The candles.
The candles, the incense, the herbs. Like, a lot of the stuff they mention and how they use it is how people who practice witchcraft now do it.
Catch you over here trying to summon wrath.
I'm out here just, like, summoning a demon. No. No. Maybe. No. Not if... I would have to be desperate.
Well,
like Amelia.
Yeah.
I'd have to be desperate.
That's fair.
Mostly just because, like, how do you get them the fuck out?
You
like,
tell them to go home.
He didn't go home.
He did when she banished him.
Not really. He came back!
Well, didn't she call him back too?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Like, but Envy showed the fuck up and
he
never
got mad
left.
at her because she banished him. And he's like, don't you ever do that to me again.
Give me my free will.
Yeah.
But then, of course, like, fucking Envy's just like, hey, guys.
I know. Envy breaks all the rules.
He's fun for that, I guess.
He is fun for that. It doesn't really fit Envy, though.
That's true.
I was like, this sin.
Who do you think would break all the rules, then? Like, which one do you think? Pride, maybe?
Greed.
That's true. Greed would just be like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want.
I want it. I want it.
I want to be here, so I'm gonna be here.
Yeah, so greed... I mean, I get the envy of he's jealous of Pride, but...
What if... Ooh, that could be an interesting change to the book of what if Envy was the one summoned instead of Greed for by Vittoria, and then the one who's like actually coming and like causing all these issues is Greed.
Yeah.
That would have been a fun if you flipped those two. That would have been fun. Because then you could also use Greed to do the whole, like, what happens when you get all these things and then everything's taken away from you.
Yeah. Where you're just left, like, desiring everything.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so fun. Ugh. Don't make me think about this. I don't need another fan fiction to write.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, overall impression and final rating of book 1.
Very well written. I enjoyed it. It's enjoyable. I think she improves in the second series.
Okay. What's your final rating? How many stars out of 5 would you give it?
Like a 3.5.
That's fair. No, that's a fair rating. I think that's a fair rating. Especially since you have read the second series. And we have, like, a comparison.
Yeah. Because I'm left confused on a lot of things, which it might be intentional because it's the first of a series.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I think for me, I said I liked the plot line, mostly just because it stood out against, like, some of the other books in the genre. The characters were fine.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't love them, but I also didn't hate them. Writing and world building were pretty good, other than certain things that we already talked about.
Yeah.
So I think my final rating on this was a 4 stars just because I enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
Like, overall, if we put it all together, I did enjoy the book, and there were questions, but because I knew it was a trilogy, I was like, okay, hopefully some of these will get answered.
Yeah.
And I can live with that.
Yeah. I don't know. I go back to comparing it to, like, When the Moon Hatched, where it didn't leave me hungry for more.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I still think she's a very good writer.
Yeah.
Like, she's a very good author. She builds a good story. I like the way she writes. It's different. The characters are different. It doesn't feel like brain rot romance. Yeah. Romantasy.
Anyway.
You have opinions on that?
Book 2.
Okay.
Book 2.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Book 2 turned.
This is book 1.
Yeah, I know. But every time I'm like, I have to compare it to the whole series now.
That's fair.
Right? Like, since we're talking about book 1, I have to, like, you almost have to take in book 2 because of the questions that you mentioned. Yeah. Once you've read it, you'll be like, oh, now I see why you can't really pull the two away from each other. And I think that's just a fact of, like,
a series.
Yeah.
You gotta read book 3. I feel like it'll resolve a lot of the things.
Will it?
I think so.
Will it?
I think so. Based on the way the Throne of the Fallen series starts, I think so.
It won't resolve one of the tropes that showed up in book 2.
Well, you can just ignore that.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it after we finish recording.
Okay,
because you'll laugh at me.
Great, I love that.
But yeah, so we agree it's like 3.5, 4 stars, sort of. It's good. Yeah. It's above average. Yes, but not like a work of art. No, it's not a masterpiece.
No, it feels like she's a developing author.
Yeah, which is fair because she is at this point of that book. She is a developing author.
Yeah, I think she has one series before it.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. So it fits her.
Yeah.
Especially because it ends up being a place that she likes to write so much that she makes like a universe around it, which is great for her.
It's really cool too.
Yeah, and I love the concept. Now I kind of want a Greed series. After Throne of the Fallen series, how hope we get a Greed series.
Hopefully,
that'd be fun. Greed seemed kind of fun.
Greed doesn't really show up in the first book of the second series.
Yeah, so it'd be fun if he got his own series.
It would be cool.
Like I think it'd be fun if like all the sins got their own little thing.
I think that might be what she's it seems like she's heading towards. Where
Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, based off of some stuff, I think that's brought up in book 1. That I think that would make a lot of sense, actually, for there to be a book series for each of the...
Because Pride has a whole backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Greed has a whole backstory.
I do feel a little bad for Pride.
I know.
His wife got murked.
Poor wife.
So, like, Wrath has his series. Envy has the Throne of the Fallen.
He's getting his.
He's getting his right now. So probably based off of whoever shows up in Envy's series will probably be who's next.
Yeah.
Because Envy plays a pretty prominent role in Kingdom of the Wicked.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, continuing on, he still plays a major role.
Right.
So.
And Pride, I think once you get to that, you're wrapping up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the driving factor of the whole series.
Yeah.
Or whole world.
I mean, we got to Pride in book 2.
You find out what happens, but, like, not the focus on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say anything without spoiling stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, because there's some... I don't know if I want to tell you after.
Nope, don't tell me.
You don't want to be spoiled?
I
You want to
don't
read
want to be
book 2?
spoiled, yes.
Okay.
So...
do we want to do our little trash talk corner today?
I want to hear what you're looking forward to for Onyx Storm.
Okay.
Because you are going to go...
Yeah, right after this.
Spend the night.
Yeah. In a couple hours.
Yes.
I will be at a Barnes & Noble.
Dressed up as Violet.
Dressed up as Violet in a corset.
Yes.
Because why not?
Of course, you gotta go full in.
Yeah, I gotta. Okay, Onyx Storm, lookups. Okay, I need communication.
Please.
Let's start there.
Yes.
If you want me to make it through the first half of the book, there needs to be... We need to move past not talking to each other.
Yes.
Because I feel like that was the purpose of Iron Flame.
I thought that's what it was.
So let's hope we are happily surprised.
Yeah.
Or not happily not surprised.
Yes.
Because Iron Flame leans into us having communication in book 3.
Yeah.
So, hopefully Onyx Storm takes what was given to it and does it.
Although you have that fun little ending of Iron Flame of opening up a perfect vial of miscommunication in book 3.
But I'm hoping that... because that's what happened at the end of book 1, though. So, if she's just a bad writer at that point if she does the same damn thing again.
Okay, so we're hoping miscommunication is gone.
Yeah, because I'm hoping it's like, maybe it starts, but like it's quickly like, oh wait, we did this song and dance before.
Yeah.
And look where it ended us up.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get my shit together and, you know, be the adult I have no choice in being.
Right.
Because it's not that like she has to be, it's that she has no choice in being anymore.
Yeah, you're embroiled in a rebellion.
Yeah. Not even a rebellion anymore. By the end of book 2.
War.
Yeah. By the end of book 2, it's now just a full out fucking war.
Yeah.
He's sleeping.
I know.
So yeah, so I'm hoping to communication. I really do want I want to get to know Brennan and Dane a little bit more.
Okay.
If I'm thinking like side characters I'm interested in knowing, I want more of that. Can I say what I'm hoping doesn't happen?
Of course.
I'm hoping that Yaros doesn't pull a Moss and have, like, Violet and Xaden get fucking married in this book. Or some shit like that.
Secret baby trope.
Not baby. I don't think that would happen. I don't.
Okay.
Like, I don't even think that's, like, a possibility. But I am concerned that we're gonna get, like, an off-screen wedding. Off-page wedding.
Okay.
Because it just happened. It's happened in so many fucking romantasy books at this point, and I'm tired of it.
It's a nice way to put a little bow on it.
Well, no, it's not even that.
I know.
It's not even a bow. It's like, they're in the middle of a fucking conflict, and then they get married. And then the conflict continues. And they get married off-screen. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? What's the point?
Because we might die tomorrow.
Then give us a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, give us an actual wedding.
Let me see it. Let me
Set
participate.
it up. Like, if you want to do with the whole, like, oh, we could die tomorrow thing, that's fine. Because that sounds like for 2 kids their age, right? Because
They are kids. They're 18.
no, they're 20s.
Barely.
No, she's 20. He's 23.
Oh, okay.
So no, she'd be 21 and he's 24.
Okay.
But they're like young adults, right?
I thought she was younger, quite honestly.
I think she was. I do like compared to like some of the. I know we've had conversations about this, but I lean towards Violet actually being more sheltered than we expect her to be. Just because like, and you can kind of the vibe kind of does come from like book 2, like based off like the conversation with her mom and everything she's learning and all these things like that. That actually, while her mom comes across as like this tough love sort of person, I think she sheltered her kids a lot.
Yes.
So I think Violet among all of them was sheltered the most.
That would
so
make
her
sense.
coming across as younger, I think, is more of a testament to how she was raised. Even though it would make sense for her to understand these things that we think she should understand because she's raised by a general.
Right.
But I think if that general isn't teaching her kid anything...
Well, she isn't really involved, so...
And she's not involved, and her dad certainly wasn't helping things. So I have a feeling that Violet is actually, like... If we went back and read or listened to book 1 one more time with the context of this is an extremely sheltered child...
Yeah.
I think that would make book 1
palatable
and more understandable.
Okay.
I think like you can understand her character a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you look through the lens of like, oh, no, she's a 18-year-old in a 20-year-old's body.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like they're young adults who are now like if we went back to my whole wedding issue, like if they're going to go the route of like we could die tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Then like show us like build up to it and then show us.
Yeah.
Don't just like do an off-screen
Let
shit.
me be part of the romance.
Let me be a part of the romance that you decide to shove in my face for 2 books.
Yep.
So, how dare you?
It's romance with plot. Is what it is at this point.
Oh my god, you know. Don't remind me. So, like, if I'm hoping there's not a wedding, though.
Okay.
I really don't want there to be.
Okay, so not a wedding. Get to know Dane and
Brennan.
Because
I think those are, like, really the only characters we don't know.
Yeah.
At this point.
Imogen and some of the more rebellion characters.
So getting to know the rebellion characters a little bit more would be great.
Yeah. Cat could die. I'd be fine with that.
That was cold.
I hate Cat.
That was stone cold.
It is, and I said it with my whole chest.
I know you did. Honestly, I don't.
It.
I think she's just a poorly written character.
It's not even. She is perfectly written for what her role is supposed to be.
Fair.
I just hate her. What her role is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I am personally.
Okay, let me take that back then. Because the more you say it, I'm like, yes, I agree. So I take it back. Every situation she's in is poorly written.
Okay. That's fair.
Like, the whole Cat situation is poorly written.
See, where I have the problem with it is that it feels like boy trying to hide X.
Correct.
And that's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
I have a personal problem with that.
I do too, though, shit. So I'm like, now, why are you trying to hide your ex? Like,
yeah.
Because she's a
she
bitch?
wasn't really, I didn't really love her, but I've trained her to protect herself so she wouldn't die.
And it's like, then just say that you cared enough about her to help her protect herself. Like, that's okay. You're allowed to have exes that, while you didn't love, you cared enough about to make sure they didn't die.
Yeah.
Like, in our world, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
Especially because you were betrothed to her to save your country.
Yeah.
Like, if you just communicate that...
Never.
We could understand it!
Yeah.
Not instead, how about you ask me questions?
Or I'm going to pretend that I don't have an ex. Or that I wasn't betrothed to her.
Full-on betrothed.
And I'm going to make you find out. I just... It just brings forward my little traumas.
Zayden, you are so wrong for that whole situation.
See, that's why I thought they were younger, because that's some...
High school bullshit?
Some, like, early 20s. Like, I just turned 21 bullshit.
Yeah.
Not, I have been the leader of a rebellion since I was 17 years old bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think almost it could speak to it could be an interesting thing to see if it... Again, this would require going back in the books and looking at it, but we're like, because we can agree that Violet is kind of sheltered.
Yes.
And I wonder if it would be interesting to look at Xaden's character as someone who is, like, very, like, mature in the sense of, like, how to grow up quickly and how to learn certain skills very quickly, but emotionally is just shit.
Well, he definitely is that. There's no arguing that. He doesn't know how to be a romantic partner because he's never had to, or he's never had the freedom to.
Yeah, or even wanted to, I think.
But I still hate Kat.
That's
because
fair.
of what
That's
she
fair.
represents. Not her as a character, just what she represents as her character. She could die. She could choke.
That was a poor writing choice.
It was a wonderful writing choice in creating the drama to build the relationship.
It's poor writing. Nope, I stand by it.
It's lazy.
It is lazy.
It's a cop-out.
It is. It's such a cop-out. Oh my god.
So maybe there's a point to Kat.
I'm hoping there's a point to Kat. That'd be a great book 3 thing.
Yep.
A point to Kat.
Either that
Beyond.
or she chokes.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you up with the Kat storyline.
Yeah, Kat dying might be a reason for me to read it.
Oh no. Let me think. What else am I thinking about for book 3? Learning about Andarna and her whole thing. That would be fun.
Yes.
I'm interested in what so in each of the books, the title has been a literal thing.
Okay.
If you noticed.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Onyx Storm is going to be.
Probably something to do with the world ending.
Because the reason I bring it up is because the only time Onyx is referenced is in reference to Xaden. His eyes. His eyes are always described as like onyx flecked with gold.
Interesting.
That's how his eyes are always described. Only reason I know this is because I read way too much fan fiction, and I've looked back in the book to like double check.
Yeah.
But so I feel like Onyx is referring to Xaden in some way, shape, or form.
So he's gonna get his black eyes back.
Yeah, he would have to. Because I think in this one he's just tinged. Because in the preview or
there's
something,
a ring.
There's a ring. But I think in either the preview, I think it's the previews that Rebecca's released. There's a talk of like, oh, the way your eye looks as Venin tells your rank in Venin, or how far gone you are as a Venin. So that is interesting. But the storm part is what interests me the most. Because if Onyx is referencing Xaden, then I can't believe this is becoming a theory moment.
Storm is definitely Violet.
It would have to be, but Storm would have been her mom.
But she has the pure power.
Yeah, but that's boring for Storm.
Lightning.
That's boring. That's a cop-out.
There's the theory that he has 3 signets.
The fuck?
Because he has 2. And then there's a theory that the mark brings...
Another one because of... Oh, the thing with Liam is when people were bringing it up.
Yeah. And Imogen.
And Imogen, that's true. Because people literally just posting the quote from, like, fourth wing of, like...
the snow or ice or whatever.
The ice using shards of ice.
Literal
like,
ice.
When the fuck did... He's farsight. He can see far away. That's it. Since when could he use ice?
We'll find out if it was a clever moment or an oopsie.
That would be interesting. Maybe Liam was originally meant to have ice powers and then never got edited out.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Or like a fun little little catch, you know? Or it could be that Xaden does have 3 signets because all the marked ones got a signet when their parents died.
Or, when the dragon marked them. Because that's where their powers come from, is their dragon mark.
That's true. But I think yeah, anyway. I'd have to reread book 1. Because
You've got a couple hours.
Because there's a conversation that's had about how they got their marks that was interesting. Because they each had a stone that was given to them by Liam's mom, I think it was. But there's a whole thing where one of the original rebellion people used runes on stones and gave them to all the children.
Yeah.
So that when they were marked by the dragon, but when they were marked by the dragon, that stone shattered and is what caused the whole issue of when they're together, Melgrim can't see them.
Oh.
It blocked, it caused this, it became something else. It protected them instead of becoming just a mark.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's something to that as well.
It could be.
Like runes mixed with dragon magic causes signet.
Causes chaos of some sort, yeah.
But why would Xaden having storm powers would be interesting. the woman who killed his father, and then he gets his signet.
Well, because it was her dragon, wasn't it? Whose dragon marked him?
The other black dragon, Coda.
Oh.
The giant ass black dragon, the one that's even bigger than Terran, that Terran is actually scared of.
Okay.
Because there's only them two.
Yeah.
And Terran's actually more concerned. I think it is Melgrim's dragon. General Melgrim's dragon.
Okay.
Who like can see the future and shit like that. But it would be almost poetic in a way for him to get that signet, though, if he was literally the Onyx Storm.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. That I would be interested in seeing play out. Because that would be fun, and an ode to, like, she fucked up, and then when she did the thing in book 2,
redemption arc.
When she had her redemption arc in book 2, and then she proceeds to almost, like, pass on, because she's dead now.
Yes. R.I.P.
She's dead now, and it's, like, her dying almost, and then, like, Xaden gains that signet in a way, like, not really gains it, but, like, that's, like, another ability that he can use. That would be fun.
Interesting.
It'd be interesting if written correctly, which I don't think would happen, but...
Hopes are not high, but we are hopeful.
Hopeful. I have no idea what to expect out of this book, though.
Okay.
At all. Somebody mentioned that there's, like, a W plot structure for a 5-book series.
Okay. Where
the typical structure of book 3, or, like, the end of book 3, typically is making the problem that's created in book 2 worse. Instead of solving
a bit of a rising climax kind of situation.
Yeah. So that could mean the Onyx Storm is Xaden saying fuck it to everything. So it could be Xaden losing his fucking shit and going full Venom.
But that would be we'll find out.
Yeah. Because I think that if something happened to Violet, that would make it happen. Just like how he became Venom in the first place to try and hold off while they were making the wards.
Right.
So if something happened to Violet... God, that's leading into a secret baby trope. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, brain, we're not going there. Anyway, but point is, if something were to happen and get worse with Violet being involved, I could see Xaden fully diving into being Venom. But then Sigale would... Oh fuck, is Sigale gonna die? No, because then they'd all die.
Yeah.
But what if they didn't? Oh no. Now my brain is like...
Well, Xaden would definitely die.
Xaden would definitely die.
And
but
Taryn
if he's Venom...
would absolutely lose his mind.
But if he's Venom, would he? That's my thing.
Because he's still connected to his dragon, isn't he?
That's debatable.
Okay, we'll find out.
Yeah. So I think there's some stuff with...
There's some promise to this book.
There is some interesting plot lines that could happen. But I don't know which ones or even what ideas she has that are going to happen. Because we also need to know what Violet's second signet is still. So it's like, what the fuck are we going to do with that? Because everyone's like...
Her second signet could be Storm because she's the daughter of her mom.
That's stupid.
Well, it would be stupid, but it could be happening.
Don't say that, please. Please don't say that. I mean, I'm leaning towards one of the more popular book theories for this, that... It's that she's a truthsayer.
Oh, okay.
That she makes people tell the truth.
Then she would have had no miscommunication trope.
That's what I'm hoping it's her fucking signet.
Well, why would it have not been there before?
Because she could barely use her
well, she already has 2 signets. She has the time stop. And...
No, time stop was only Andarna, and that was that's the ability of a feathertail.
Oh, okay.
That's the ability of a feathertail. Okay. They can just stop time.
Interesting.
That's why they're not supposed to bond, because when they bond. Because they're adolescents, so when they bond with people, they have the time stop power that instead of pulling from like a shared power, pulls from literally from Andarna.
Oh, okay.
Because it forced her to grow up at the end of at the beginning of book 2. Yeah. So
I fucking love teenage Andarna.
She's great.
I need more teenage Andarna.
Well,
we'll find out.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So on our next episode,
it'll probably be on Onyx Storm.
It's probably going to be on Onyx Storm, y'all. Honestly. I had something planned and then I never read the books because I got obsessed with...
You're welcome.
Kingdom of the Wicked.
You're welcome.
So probably at the end of February, because for Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about Lights Out.
Yeah.
So that's right. Our next one is actually going to be released on Valentine's Day, and we're going to be talking about Lights Out.
Lights Out.
By, what is it, Nevessa Allen? Is how you say your name?
I think so.
Yeah, by Nevessa Allen. That's our next one. Valentine's Day, Nevessa Allen, Lights Out.
Classic.
Because we love a good dark romance on Valentine's Day. We do love
a good dark romance, and it did make me cry, so it's truly romantic.
No comment.
On that note.
On that note, we're leaving now.
Catch you next time.
Bye.